All right. Well, thank everyone for coming out first, and everybody for their service, all the veterans, and not just the veterans, but their family, the future wives, spouses, and family that come. You're all definitely part of the support group for the veteran, and you might be signing on for more than you realize. I'm a Marine. I served 8 years in the Marines from 1999 until 2007. I did 3 tours in Iraq, 2003, 2005, and 2006. I got out in 2007 and just kind of took a couple months off. I came off of back-to-back deployment, so I saved up some money, took a couple months off, and then just went right back to work like everyone else. Dove right into a bottle of Jack Daniels every night and went about my way. I had a friend that was already out ahead of me that we served with in 2003. He got in with the VA and told me, hey, you should at least come and get a card and just get checked in and signed in for, whatever, for later purposes. So I did that and started doing a couple of psych evals through them and some other things, and then they determined I had PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and a few other things. They diagnosed me with at that time in 2007. I was drinking at the time. I mean, they asked, how much are you drinking? You tell them, oh wow, you drink a lot. Here's alcohol rehab, and then here's these psychoactive pills, and pain pills, and anxiety medicine, and heart rate, and everything else. Stop drinking, here's this. So when you start mixing the alcohol with the pharmaceuticals, it becomes a very deadly combination. That's where a lot of the suicides come from. You don't even have to mix alcohol with the pharmaceuticals. The reality, and it's kind of a sad fact, is the majority of veterans have a drinking problem, whether you want to admit it or not. I mean, I have a few drinks every now and then, but I really don't drink anymore. I'm a serious alcoholic, and even just a couple is kind of borderline for me. So I just really need to stay away from it. And that's the reality of a lot of people. The job I had when I got out of the Marine Corps was a federally regulated position. I held a CDL, I was an equipment operator, and then I got into government services shortly after. In 2010, I started working for Fish and Wildlife, and became a wildland firefighter and equipment operator for Fish and Wildlife. So these are all government positions. I cannot utilize cannabis in any way. So basically, it was a self-medication of fifths of Jack Daniels and whatever pills they were giving me at the VA, and just whatever it was. And as I talked to people I've known from the past, especially with the commercial coming out and some of this stuff coming up, people from my past that had reached back out to me that I've served with and I've known them was like, oh wow, man, like, I remember this, I remember that, and it made me realize real quickly, like, a lot of these problems were there then. It wasn't something that, had just came about. These problems had been there, maybe even during service time, some of the problems come back to that. And that's where the heavy drinking and all that came from. And I'm not down in alcohol. I mean, have a good time. I'm just saying, for the treatment that the VA is going out, it's a deadly combination. And that's where we're seeing, I feel, a lot of the suicide. Now, a lot of the other problems are things that Mike was talking about. Is your name Mike? Or
yes.
Yes. Okay.
Trucker Mike.
Trucker Mike, I like that. The liberty side of this, and the fact that it's not recreational. This is an adult use issue. It's not a recreational thing. We're not creating recreational cannabis.
There you go.
The private prisons, all these things, that's where a lot of my issues stem from, with the PTSD and the anxiety and the depression and all these issues. It's not so much loud noises and crowds, where that is bothersome at times and can trigger issues. It's the fact of, what's happening now, what we did over in these countries and these regions what's the result of it, and what freedoms have we lost in our country because of what was done in these other countries to support and prop up freedom and democracy. That's where a lot of my issues stem from. And I don't know if you've seen the commercial, but that's what I'm talking about. A lot was given up for that. It wasn't my 8 years in the service and 3 tours in Iraq. I mean, I'm not parading as some combat hero veteran or nothing like that. It was a lot was given up for those areas, Ramadi, Fallujah, all these areas where our AOs were, and people died for those areas, and now they're in control by ISIS and in control of these other things. I mean, we literally built FOBs, bases, checkpoints all along these routes through that whole region that they are now occupying, they being the terrorists. That maybe we even put them there. I don't know. This is where my issues stem from. Now, how has cannabis transitioned me to the point where I was at to where I am now? 2013, I was working for the government, heavily drinking. I kind of got on the back end of my drinking actually by that point. And that's really when the PTSD, depression, anxiety, all this stuff slammed into me like a ton of bricks. I got a little bit sobered up from the alcohol, and then I started having all these recall moments and all these other types of events. It created a lot of panic attacks. I started having panic attacks. I was going to the hospital and I was having a heart attack. I mean, I'm only, at that time, like 30 years old, like, wow, oh my God, why am I having a heart attack right now? Like, literally having to call the ambulance and stuff. And to come find out, it's like, dude, you're having panic attacks. I never experienced this before. And what came of it was I had to leave my job with the government in 2013. And it was that, but a lot of what was kind of causing it and what I seen was the way the government was going too, with expenditures at that time, the way that taxpayer allocation was being wasted, basically. I couldn't be a part of it, had to walk away from it. But the anxiety was what really got a hold of me. It was creating an issue. I would miss like a week of work, and I just couldn't go. And I just kept going there. It was just so traumatic for me. I didn't know what this came over me, but I decided to quit. I moved back to Arkansas, of all places. I didn't really realize at the time what Arizona offered with the Prop 203 that there was a medical program. I mean, living in a state where I had access, and I moved back to my home state where it's completely a felony, like any of us holding a joint would be going to prison there in Arkansas. And I lived with my family for a while. I grew some guerrilla plants. Someone gave me some seeds and was like, hey, you should try this. So I planted them guerrilla style, totally illegal. And I did it. Around May of 2013, I had a serious breakdown. Went into the mental ward in Memphis, VA. Was in their Ward 3 or West or whatever they call it. But it was like their psychotic ward, and they start examining and they say, well, you have bipolar, you have this, you have that. And then they start pouring on the lithium and all these other types of medicine. I mean, I walk out of there with, I think it was most of what you guys seen on that commercial came from that one visit, about half of it probably. And that ain't near it. I mean, if I have my full records all the way back to 2007, that list on that commercial just keeps scrolling like the kids' Christmas list, just one, 3 or 4 pages probably. But I walked out with that, and I was married at the time, and I still am the same woman. She said, you're not the same person. Come out of there, just I don't know where I was at. That went on for about a month, and she drew the line. I mean, I ended up one day on all these medicines that were supposed to make me feel good and feel great and enjoy life, literally climbing through the living room wall into the hallway with my fists and feet through the drywall, both walls, to just get into the hallway because I just felt like there needed to be a doorway. I mean, this was the kind of stuff that was starting to happen. It was terrifying my wife. And that's when, we decided to move back out to Arizona in 2014 and got on with the patient program. Cannabis, it's not a end-all, save-all. I mean, all this is a progress, still having struggles daily, going through different issues. It's it's just a great, it's just a great resource to put in your toolbox. I guess that'd be the best thing to say about it.
One more thing you have right.
For the full belt or whatever in terms of recovery and, you know, moving on from traumatic issues and things like that. But it goes further than that, and it goes further than getting high too. I mean, there's a lot of compounds, cannabinoids, terpenes, and things within the cannabis plant that aren't going to get someone high and aren't even illegal. I mean, really, THC, the delta-9 THC, is the illegal, portion of the plant. There's CBD, CBC, several other compounds that have dramatic health benefits. I mean, some as far as like, CBD stimulates bone growth, supports or stops growth of bacteria, helps control epileptic seizures. That's the medicine you guys are seeing if you've seen this stuff on TV, the Weeds or whatever, the series they're doing with the kids, having epileptic seizures, taking the medicine. I mean, the kids aren't getting high, they're taking the CBD oil, might be a little bit of THC, but it's curing their epileptic seizures, reversing diabetes, things like this. I mean, completely reversing it. People was taking insulin, life dependent on it, to get on some real form of cannabis medicine, and no longer needing that insulin. Is this going to be the case for everybody? No, but it helps a lot of people. The liberty side of it, like Trucker Mike was saying, just being able to grow the plant. I mean, there I was in Arkansas growing this illegal plant, like literally like freaking out, thinking I'm gonna get arrested, and the whole time, like I fought to defend this plant. I can't even grow a simple plant. It's ridiculous, it's ridiculous. As far as like what Mike was talking about, powers of the government, the only power that any government has is the power that we directly give them. That's it. It's not like they have power. So if we as a people don't take control of issuing that power, then they're just going to take the power and do as they please with it. And that's what's happened up to this point. Thank you to the American Legion for allowing us to be here and what all you guys have done. I've learned a lot about your organization just from listening to you, and will definitely be, looking to reach out further with you guys. I wondered what the demographics were, and it'd be a sad thing to see as the Vietnam guys and the Korea guys and all these guys slowly disappear through our history, that this kind of fades away because of like my group of guys and the guys didn't step up. And there's going to be a ton of me. I mean, not many people are really saying much. As I'm saying something a little more, saying something a little more, then it's going to get going. There's millions of me out there, and the sad fact is there's millions more waiting in line, coming off of those footprints, going out doing this shit, and then coming back and like, okay, now what? So there's going to be always a need for the American Legion, for organizations like Mom Force, and for what we're doing with Southwest Healing Group. I laid these around your tables. I got a few laying over there. What this is basically a group of veterans right now. The core group, we're all veterans. It was founded by Dan Schmink out of Phoenix here, and he's been within the industry, seen a need for support for veterans within the industry, and to just give a little more to the community. And what he was seeing, he wanted to see a little bit more. So he formed this. And what we're doing now is starting to branch out into different cities and trying to grow this organization. I'm in Tucson. I'm taking on the Tucson region, and even stretching into Benson and whatever fingers I can reach out there as far as I can go. Dan and James Dresser there in Phoenix here, and we're coming on with, as we're building up, we're coming on with membership. We're looking for people like you, Trucker Mike, that think you don't know how to public speak, but you're amazing. And seriously, and we can come together and start getting more of these type settings with 205 passing or not. It doesn't matter either way with Southwest Healing Group. What our focus is, we are a non-profit organization. Well, by December 1st, we should be officially the nonprofit. We're not officially that status, but that's our goal. And, you know, veteran support services, some things that we're doing. I just met with Dan before I came over here, and some things that we're going to be doing as an organization is we're going to create a staffing agency for veterans that want to get involved in this industry. We're going to set up, you know, a core group of like trimmers to go around to cultivations and get them working, help employ veterans, get them into the industry. There's some obstacles to overcome with the department, and you know, if 205 goes through, if it don't, some of it's kind of a holding pattern for 205. Regardless, we're still going to work hard to get that in place, and are working hard now. Also, politically active for veterans. Dan was just last week, I believe, or on the 25th of October up in Delaware, talking with delegates, talking with veterans groups up there, trying to bring, you know, interest and, or not interest, but trying to bring the forefront of what we're doing out here, but also how this can help veterans across the nation. And then, like I said, depending on 205, it's going to depend on what we can do with providing areas for people to come and medicate. We're down at cannot smoke. You know, we're looking at establishing some of that. Maybe that's some framework we could work with together. We've already kind of got a leap on some of that stuff. And then patient advocacy for the families, for the communities. And this isn't just for people, for veterans. I mean, this is for patients and for the community. You know, we're trying to tie in as many businesses as we can with ourselves, and then meld into the local communities to where even the businesses that aren't cannabis, they're not selling cannabis products, but they might not even care for it too much. They still need to coincide with each other so that the commerce can flow throughout, you know, and help that flow. Provide educational seminars. We're going around to places in Phoenix and Tucson right now, local dispensaries setting up in their lobbies and providing education, just all different types of how to grow cannabis, how to make oils, how to do these things, how to do that, just so the people know you can grow your own. With the Prop 205, you're going to be able to grow your own plants, as long as no one comes out and blocks that. There'll be a need for people knowing how to grow. I mean, here's the things you should do, here's what you should